You grab a shirt in the US and the tag says $19.99. You tap your card, $21.69. Did I just pay for an extra sleeve? No, that's sales tax. The reason every American receipt has a plot twist. Stay with me. By the end, you'll know exactly why your $2 coffee becomes $2.19. Hey, I'm Mischa. Welcome back to the channel. I was born and raised in Germany in a small town called Weilerbach by Kaiserslautern in Ramstein Air Force Base, and I have been living in the United States for 10 years now. Today, we're going to talk about what US sales tax is, why it changes by zip code, how it's different from Europe's VAT tax or VAT tax, and the wild state-by-state rules that will absolutely get you at checkout. And a quick promise here, I'll give you travel tips so you never get receipt shock again. In the US, sales tax is added at the register, not by Washington, by each state, plus cities and counties on top of it. So the same burger can cost you two different totals a few blocks apart from each other. Typical combined rate is around 7%. Here are some examples. Oregon, 0%. California base, 7.25%. Locals can push it past 10%. Parts of Chicago, over 11%. Some states tax groceries or clothes and others don't. Europe looks the same on the shelf, but the math is totally different. The Mehrwertsteuer in Germany. Standard is 19%, reduced to 7% for essentials. The key difference, the VAT is already in the price. If bread says $2 on the shelf, you pay $2. No surprises at the register. In the US, a $5.99 coffee might ring up for $6.49. Europeans love the all-in price. Americans are used to seeing tax as a separate line item. My rule when visiting the US, mentally add 5 to 10% and you should be safe. So why don't Americans include tax on the tag? Spoiler, it's psychology. Back in the 1930s, when sales taxes started, stores kept shelf prices looking low. $1.99 feels cheaper than $2.13, even if the difference is just pennies. But it stuck. Part marketing, part tradition. Also, tax rates might change by city or county. Printing final prices for every location, logistically a nightmare. And culturally, many Americans want to see how much tax they're paying on their receipt. Okay, let's see how this plays out in real life. You'll feel the next part. Fast food, $8.99 plus 7% equals up to $9.62. Jeans, $50 plus 8.5% tax equals up to $54.25. Groceries are often exempt, but soda and snacks frequently taxed. Here are some state quirks. Minnesota, no tax on clothing. Cross to Illinois, that shirt can get you 10% tax on top. Looking at New Jersey, groceries and most clothing are tax-free, but a prepared sandwich is taxed. In Alaska, no state sales tax, but many towns charge their own. And then you look at Hawaii, a general tax on businesses, well, you still feel it at checkout. For comparison, in Germany, the menu says €8.99. You pay €8.99. VAT is noted on the receipt, not added at the end. My first time shopping here in the US, I thought the cashier made a mistake because I didn't know that the tax came later. So here's a personal story. First clothing run in the US, my total was $10 higher than the tax added up to. I was ready to argue. Turns out it was just tax. And if you do not know this as a tourist, you kind of mind boggled. Now I actually round up in my head before I even reach the counter. Visiting the US, add 5 to 10% mentally to the shelf price. Big cities often mean higher rates. Learn local exemptions. Some states skip tax on groceries or clothing, and restaurants, tax and tip are separate. A $20 meal can land near $26 after tax plus tip. Here's the cultural takeaway. Americans like line item transparency. Europeans prefer no surprise totals. Neither of those systems is better. It's just different spending logic. And some might like to know the full price at the beginning, and some might not care and already calculate that into the end price because they grew up with that. It's easier for them to adapt that way. In America, the shelf price is just the starting point. In Germany, it's the final number. But which do you prefer? Upfront totals or add at checkout? Tell me in the comments, hit subscribe, like and share for more Germany versus US insights, and watch my video on US tipping culture next. I'm Mischa. Thank you for watching. Tschüss.